How many people could this have happened to? And how did he get away with it for so long?
Another explosive day inside the federal courtroom just sent shockwaves through the entire music industry. Day 10 of the Sean Diddy Combs trial was supposed to be routine, until Cassie reportedly went into labor, Diddy's mother arrived for the first time, and a former insider named Capricorn Clark took the stand with accusations that sounded like the plot of a Hollywood thriller. Forced lie detector tests, midnight kidnapping missions, and an arsenal of NDAs. Buckle up, because today's testimony could be the puzzle piece that locks in RICO. But the craziest part? The prosecution says tomorrow will be even bigger. Ready to dive deep? Let's go. And don't blink, because every minute counts. News broke mid-session that Cassie, the woman whose 2011 relationship with Kid Cudi triggered Diddy's legendary rage, had checked into the hospital to deliver her baby. Court watchers gasped. Was this sudden timing simply nature's clock? Or would her absence derail the prosecution's momentum just as the defense prepared a grilling cross-exam? Reporters scrambled for updates, but the judge refused to pause proceedings, betting the jury's focus could survive the real-time drama. Cassie's silence and the unanswered question of her health hung over every testimony like a storm cloud. And as monitors buzzed with the words "possible complications," one nagging thought refused to die. What if her newborn arrives before the next bombshell witness does? Then came the entrance nobody predicted. Janice Combs, Diddy's fiercely private mother, walked into the gallery wearing an impenetrable expression. For 9 long days, she stayed away. Today, she chose to lock eyes with jurors as Capricorn Clark recounted her darkest memories. Was this a strategic show of maternal solidarity? Or did she know something the rest of us didn't? Cameras caught her whispering to defense counsel during breaks, fueling speculation that the family may pivot its strategy. Yet Janice never winced as the allegations piled up, making jurors wonder, if even his mother isn't flinching, what does she expect to hear tomorrow? Because if she's bracing for worse, imagine what that means for the rest of us. Capricorn Clark's name might not ring out like Combs, Cassie, or Cudi, yet she was the connective tissue holding Bad Boy's backstage world together for nearly 2 decades. She entered the empire in 2004 as an eager 22-year-old production assistant, living proof that hustle could trump pedigree in hip-hop's golden circle. Within months, she was promoted to wardrobe wrangler at Sean John runway shows, spending nights steaming silk shirts and days learning which cufflinks matched Diddy's next Grammy appearance. When Puffy rebranded himself as the luxury mogul who could press play on any trend, Capricorn was his unseen remote, scouting venues, soothing VIP egos, and troubleshooting everything from renegade stylists to malfunctioning pyrotechnics. The resume glow hid a revolving door reality. One year, she'd carry swag surf towels on the BET Awards stage. The next, she'd vanish, fired, furloughed, or simply ghosted, only to be rehired under a sister company with a new title and a stricter NDA. HR paperwork shows 9 separate stints between Bad Boy, Sean John, and Combs Enterprises, each break triggered by some flash of Diddy's temper. A misplaced backstage pass, a rumor she might jump ship to Live Nation, even her friendship with 50 Cent's camp. Every exit came with hushed warnings that nobody else in this town will touch you, and every desperate return validated that threat. By 2010, she'd pivoted to Cassie's creative director, curating tour visuals, vetting producers, and brainstorming the singer's stalled sophomore album. But behind the glossy credits lay a darker job description: score drugs without leaving fingerprints, prep playroom hotel suites to Diddy's exact kink, and when chaos erupted, absorb the first blast of blame. Capricorn told jurors she stayed because each promotion felt like a lifeline for her autistic son. Quitting meant unemployment in an industry Diddy allegedly blacklisted at will. The prosecution framed her as the reluctant insider who saw everything, the human ledger no shred basket could erase. And if her loyalty was transactional, the next incident would prove the price could never be repaid in full. Clark's first red flag surfaced in 2004 when Diddy and bodyguard Uncle Paulie cornered her under the fading lights of Central Park. Combs had just learned she once worked for Suge Knight. "If anything happens to me, I'll have to unalive you," he allegedly growled. Imagine being 22, facing the most powerful mogul in hip-hop, armed with only your fear. Clark testified she felt the cold permission to vanish forever. And yet she stayed, convinced she could prove her loyalty. But that twilight warning would resurface years later when other threats turned physical. Because once you realize the boss might kill you, what comes next is unimaginably worse. Fast forward to Manhattan, where 3 missing pieces of lone jewelry triggered a corporate nightmare. Clark was whisked to an unfamiliar office, strapped to a polygraph, and told failure meant a one-way plunge into the East River. The test registered inconclusive. She was forced back the next day, and the next, until day 5 finally delivered a dubious pass. Exhausted and bald in patches from stress-induced alopecia, she returned to work with nothing but silence from HR and a shredded overtime claim. What mattered wasn't the jewelry, it was the unofficial initiation, proof she'd endure anything to stay employed. But Diddy's next demand wouldn't involve bracelets, it would involve bullets. And the name Kid Cudi. It starts like a spy thriller. Late 2011, Cassie's relationship with Diddy is already strained. Jealous fights, suspicions of hidden cameras, whispers that her every move is tracked by internal security nicknamed the Secret Service. One afternoon, she confides to Capricorn Clark that she's been texting an old friend, rapper Kid Cudi, on a phone Combs pays for. Clark's stomach drops. If he sees that bill, we're all dead, she warns, and hustles Cassie to a Best Buy outside Beverly Hills. They buy a prepaid flip phone paid with cash. No loyalty card, no ID. Classic burner SOP. Cassie stuffs it in her Balenciaga tote and for a few blissful weeks, sends flirty midnight messages that never hit Diddy's servers. Or so she thinks. December 20th, 2011, 11:53 p.m. Diddy's IT contractor allegedly flags an unregistered IMEI pinging Cassie's bedroom Wi-Fi. He makes one phone call to the boss. December 21st, 2011, 5:37 a.m. Metal on metal thunder smashes Capricorn's apartment door. Diddy stands there, shirt half buttoned, gun dangling at his side, dress slacks ripped at the crotch like he dressed in fury. "Get dressed, we're going to handle Cudi," he barks, eyes bloodshot. Clark's mind races. Call 911, run. One look at the weapon answers both questions. 5:55 a.m. An Escalade screams up Laurel Canyon. In the back seat, Diddy, Capricorn, and Uncle Paulie, the bodyguard. Dash lights cast an eerie glow on Diddy's clenched jaw as he mutters, "He disrespected me. I'll end him." Clark secretly texts Cassie from her own burner. "He's coming. Get Cudi out now." No reply. 6:03 a.m. They crest the hill by Kid Cudi's gated drive. At that exact second, headlights appear below. Cudi's Porsche, engine roaring downhill in a panic U-turn. "There he is!" Diddy lunges forward. Uncle Paulie floors the Escalade. Tires screech. 2 tons of SUV fishtailing mere feet from canyon drop-offs. Sirens pierce the dawn. LAPD units responding to noise complaints. The cruiser lights wash over Diddy's face, and as if a switch flips, he exhales, tells Paulie to stand down. 6:11 a.m. Back at Diddy's Holmby Hills mansion, rage needs a new outlet. Cassie, summoned then shoved by security, stands trembling. Diddy kicks her squarely, Capricorn testifies, with 100% force, while bodyguards stare at the marble floor. Cassie folds into the fetal position, silent tears pooling. Capricorn takes one step forward. Diddy turns, eyes blazing. "Interfere and you're next." She freezes. Minutes later, he fires her on the spot for betrayal, stripping her of insurance, housing allowance, and all access. 6:50 a.m. Capricorn drives away in her dented Honda, shaking, realizing she helped buy the burner that nearly got them killed. She also realizes Kid Cudi's car could be next, fueling rumors that would surface months later when the Porsche mysteriously explodes in his driveway. And here's the catch. Prosecutors still haven't revealed whether tomorrow's LAPD witness will tie that arson directly to this night, or expose an even darker secret Clark left out. Whatever comes, the jury now knows Diddy can go from champagne mogul to armed predator before sunrise. And that one burner phone nearly lit the fuse on murder. But if a near shootout wasn't enough to end Capricorn's orbit around Combs, what unspeakable leverage kept her tethered for years afterward? Clark earned $65,000 a year, hardly superstar pay for 20-hour days. Her to-do list, Stock hotel suites with baby oil, hidden cameras, IV-grade drugs, and pots counted by hand. $100,000 in club fees one weekend, $10,000 stacks the next. HR eventually admitted she was owed $80,000 in overtime, until Diddy allegedly ripped the paperwork in her face. Clark developed alopecia, lived on anxiety meds, and still returned when blacklisted labels slammed every other door. Each rehire came with a thicker NDA, reinforcing a gilded cage she couldn't afford to escape. But after one shove too many in Miami, she finally walked out, only to discover there was nowhere to walk to. July 2006, Miami Beach. Sweltering night, private barbecue, champagne still sweating on crystal flutes. Capricorn Clark has just worked a 14-hour shift arranging Diddy's 4th of July yacht party. Now she's folding linen napkins in the mansion's outdoor kitchen. Exhausted, she vents to the chef, "I hate it here." The chef, oblivious to the danger, repeats the comment when Diddy strolls in for a late-night snack. Seconds later, the mogul barrels onto the lawn, shirt half-buttoned, Cuban cigar glowing like a fuse, shouting, "You hate it here? Then get out!" Witnesses say he slams both palms into Clark's shoulders, driving her backward the length of a school bus, roughly 30 yards, before a security guard physically wedges himself between boss and employee. Clark's ankle twists. She feels grass in her mouth. In that instant, she quits, swearing never to step foot on Combs' property again. But the world outside isn't waiting with open arms. Within a week, every recruiter she calls grows strangely polite. We've decided to go in a different direction. One HR manager at Universal Music tips her off record. "You crossed Puffy, no one will touch you." Months later, she lands a sit-down with Interscope executives, only to be told, "For your own sake, leave Combs alone or it won't end well." Bills pile up. Her autistic son's therapy costs $200 a month. Her COBRA insurance expires. In May 2012, she accepts a settlement from Combs Enterprises. 5-figure payout, multiple non-disparagement NDAs, and, crucially, a promised letter of recommendation Diddy never signs. When the money runs dry, Clark does the unthinkable. She returns in 2016 under Cassie's new record deal, trading silence for a paycheck. Trauma bond, survival mode, the jury can decide. For 6 more years, she toggles between loyalty and loathing. Her inbox a graveyard of ignored job applications. By the time prosecutors call her to testify, Clark describes herself as professionally dead, but morally resurrected, determined to break the chain no matter the cost. Yet just when her testimony seems unassailable, the defense flashes a stack of emails that could recast her as a willing accomplice. And the courtroom's temperature shifts in an instant. Defense lawyers projected messages where Clark, broke and desperate, begged Diddy's forgiveness and even pitched becoming his 2024 chief of staff. They asked, "If he terrorized you, why ask for a job?" Clark broke down, describing Stockholm-style trauma bonds, blacklisting, and a special needs child she had to feed. The jury watched her sob, the judge gently reminding her no apology was needed. Whether the panel sees weakness or credibility is tomorrow's mystery. Because next, prosecutors will parade law enforcement witnesses who can either validate Clark's darkest claims or puncture the narrative she risked everything to tell. Clark's testimony painted kidnapping, forced labor, drug trafficking, and violent assault. Exactly the elements prosecutors need for a RICO conviction. Tomorrow, they promise an LAPD officer, an LAFD arson investigator, and the elusive witness known only as Mia. 4 witnesses in one day could finally answer the burning questions. Who torched Kid Cudi's car? Who enforced Diddy's blacklist? And will any insider dare contradict Clark under oath? Stay tuned, because the next 24 hours could transform rumors into felonies, live, on the record, for the world to see. If today's revelations left you breathless, hit that like button so more people can follow the trial's twists. Got theories about Cassie's labor timing or tomorrow's witness lineup? Drop them in the comments. I read every single one. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications on. The moment those 4 witnesses finish, we'll break down exactly what the jury heard and what it means for Sean Combs' future. This story is moving fast, and you won't want to miss the next bombshell, especially if the prosecution's about to light the final fuse.